Hey guys, plans for today: short music business meeting and then straight to the studio, getting back to work. Hi, alles fit?
Alles gut?
Ja, wunderbar. Phil has special access to free coffee at the main train station. How did you do that?
I gave too much money to the Deutsche Bahn in the last year.
And now they're making up for it with free coffee. Okay, we're done with the business meeting. This is, by the way, Phil. He is one part of my management team. How many people are you right now? 5, 6?
7.
7, I don't know.
Since Monday.
Okay, so new person I haven't met yet.
Teresa.
So next time I'm in Berlin, we will get to see the entire team. Now, really quick, something to eat and then back to the studio. Got my breakfast. Finally in the studio, the meeting went really great. Phil is an awesome guy, he's really hardworking as the rest of the management team. We just discussed which tracks to release next and a couple of other secret projects. Today is Saturday. I promised Vanessa to spend as little time as possible here in the studio, but I still have to fix at least one thing. This one thing that needs to be fixed is the low end on my new falling track. I'm not really satisfied with it. It could be a whole lot better than it is right now. So let's try and fix the low end on my new falling track. This is the entire project that I've showed you in the past 2 days. Let me solo the kick and the bass, and let me open up Span to show you what is going on. Whenever you make a track, you have to decide for either one of two ways to make the low end. One of them is having all the emphasis on the kick drum. The other one is having all of the focus on the bass or sub bass. In my case, the emphasis is on the kick. All of the sub frequencies, the bass, like all this low end, is coming actually from the kick, and the bass is just sitting a bit on top of it as a support. These are the frequencies of the sub kick. Let me add the top kick as well. It has the click sound, and as you can see, most of the information is right here at 50 Hz. This is the sub bass, and as you can see, it also has a lot of stuff right here around 50 to 40 Hz, and this is way too much. It's colliding right with the sub kick. If both of them are playing at the same time, they're competing too much for the same spot. The easiest, first and most obvious solution to this problem is to just cut away the very low frequencies of the bass. I will cut right around maybe 70, 75 Hz. This should be enough. Now checking it with the kick together. The two are now a bit more separated from the frequencies. They're not competing for the same spot anymore. Another technique to get the low end a bit tighter is to just not have the two play at the same time. A lot of techno tracks have the kick always on 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the bass in the off spots in between of the kick hits. This is also a way to separate them. If they're not playing at the same time, they're not competing for any of the frequencies. Another technique to achieve a similar effect is using sidechain compression. It's probably the better choice because you can play the bass in any way you want and still make the bass disappear a tiny bit whenever the kick hits. For sidechaining, I'm using the Logic compressor. I set it to bus number 1. This is where my kick drum is always routed to. I have here 2 presets that I usually use for sidechaining. With the bass, I will go for the first preset. It just fits a bit better with bass sounds. And now you will be able to see in the graph, whenever the kick hits, that the bass is lowered by a certain amount. The lower the threshold, the more it will take away from the bass. This lets the bass only play when the kick is not playing, but this amount of sidechaining is a bit too much for my kind of music. So I usually go for maybe 5 to 7 dB of gain reduction. I'm using this effect really subtle just to separate kick and bass, but you can also use it on synthesizer sounds and pad sounds to give them this really pumpy feeling that is super typical for house music and EDM. So these two simple techniques already help the low end of my track. I have 2 or 3 more tips and tricks, and there's also this entirely different technique where the bass is in the foreground. I will tell you more about it, but now I have to take care of business things. My track Dancing With Our Hearts was just released yesterday, and I have to take 2 phone calls, write a couple of emails, and deal with a whole lot of other things. Okay, besten Dank, bis später dann, ciao. Okay, I don't know how this happened again. It's now 3:30, I promised to be back at 2, so let's hurry up. Choosing the right samples to get a nice and clean low end is very important. Especially the kick needs to sit in the right frequencies and just sound clean and solid and not already muddy on its own. The same goes for the bass. You need a sound that is already a bit interesting on its own, and if the bass has too little bass, you can always add another sublayer. Also try out adding a bit of distortion to the higher bass frequencies or a bit crusher, just to make it more interesting and also be able to hear it on smaller speakers. Be careful compressing the low end, you might lose a lot of punch there. Compression usually makes things less bass heavy. Now it's time for a bit of quality time with Vanessa, which usually involves shopping. Vanessa's on a very healthy trip. She's just eating bananas for the rest of the day.
Because I had a big breakfast.
This means I can eat whatever I want, and what I really love is pasta. Vanessa can't see it anymore because I'm eating so much of it. We're done with the grocery shopping. I unfortunately forgot my charger, so taking this car to go to get really quick to the studio. There it is. I wouldn't know what to do without my charger, and without the laptop I needed to work at night and also to work tomorrow on the Sunday. I'm really lucky, found the parking spot right away, and I should fit in there with this small smart without any problem. It's super weird to park with these smarts because they're so small. It's really weird. The wheels are so close together, but it fits. There is still this other technique where the bass is in the foreground, but first let me have dinner, spend some time with Vanessa finally, and then I will explain all of it to you. I know it's a bit much, but I'm really addicted to this stuff. It's so good. Couldn't eat pasta without it. Okay, so let me show you this other technique really quick, where you have a really tiny kick drum that is a bit higher in the frequency and a bass that is a lot more massive and plays up until the very bottom frequencies. So this track is a good example. It's not one of my own. It's called Medicine from Maxi Sound System. And here in the analyzer you can already see that the kick is playing at 60 Hz. I also know a couple of tracks where it's playing even higher. And right now only the kick is playing and the other drums and some effect sounds. Now let me skip a bit further where the bass is introduced. Now the bass is here in the track, very low, very loud. And the kick is still just sitting at 60 Hz. It's a really massive bass. And really good vocals, really nice track. You should check it out. So these are the two ways. You really have to decide for one of them, doing a fat kick and a smaller bass, or a really fat bass and a smaller kick that is a bit higher in the frequencies. Trying to do both at the same time usually results in just a very muddy and undefined way. You want to have one of those two elements to be the stronger one and the other one just to support it. Another tip that I can give you for bass and low end is just don't overdo it with the low end. Don't make the kicks too strong, don't make the bass too strong. You still have to have all of the other elements in the track, and just by having a nice balance you will get a good sound. Okay, that's already all I have to tell you about the low end. It's now almost midnight Saturday, so time to go out, have a bit of fun. A friend of mine is playing in one of those crazy German techno clubs. That's just the best stuff. Almost forgot that I bought it.